Alright, we're gonna be doing more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Sorry, I've been coughing stuff up a lot again today. I wanted to start a little bit earlier, but I kept coughing up stuff. I almost actually ended up canceling because I coughing so much stuff up. Alright, we're gonna continue from last time. We finished chapter 2. Our best friend Kazuma was murdered. We solved that. I actually really liked how that played out with the deductions thing. I didn't really care too much for Sherlock Sholmes, I should say, as he was written, but I guess I can see why they did that. Anyway, let's see if this is back to the courtroom antics. Episode 3, The Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, once said of the incident,
I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude.
the beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Platform number 7. There's Susato.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
Why does she have an English accent if she's Japanese?
Look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
I guess that's us on the left. We also Huda or whatever.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that
Oh
case,
yeah, that is us.
the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
February 9:21 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Also, for those who missed last episode, we became the lawyer instead of Kazuma because was it Kazuma? I don't remember. Yeah, Kazuma. Okay, I couldn't remember that. I think the sword. I think the sword name is like Karuma. Whereas his name was Kazuma. Was defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the term inherited here is very loose as well. But we became the lawyer in place of Kazuma because Kazuma is, well, dead. And our character's like, oh, we had to see what his mission through, whatever that mission was. Ryonosuke, that's what it was. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It's like a fortress. There's some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in the few decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this is a quite different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. Yeah, like the clockwork is what he's specifically referring to here. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo-san. In the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. Hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Oh. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan? It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't interrupt. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I'm Male Strongheart. Really? I'm sorry. Really? Lord Chief, I know that male here is probably short for Maelstrom, but Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strong. I'm Ryonosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Ah, yes, thank you. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room. I believe they're suits of armor. Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. and they roam around in the middle of the night. Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Mr. Sato? This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask. Where did she get that incredible tome? Hold on, something here, Flash. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream. They're not all about British law either. These are books about the judicial laws of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland. What about Russia? Why do you ask? I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think? I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned. He didn't think about that the entire time he was on that fucking ship. Hello. Is this some kind of clock? Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'd find on a steam locomotive even. It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean. Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they? I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size. I'm certain you can call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make considering how large they are. These actions look quite soothing with the precise rhythm. Alright, so is there another thing there checked off? Yep. I can go a little bit to the left. Not that there is anything important seen over here. That must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. It's more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. Feels like everything's normally made of wood and paper at home. It's made of bricks and stone here. I know, that's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Oh, what? I can go to the right? Doesn't look like there's anything worth looking at. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well... I've been so nervous since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? I've had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say, I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts transways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. That's for saying me, there's such a song. Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and it will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can't hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. You say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. famous last words of an empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for this study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. I'm Mr. Kazuma Asoki, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report of the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. It's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally sends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese Zord people protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? This is it then. The moment of truth. Take that! Lord Strongheart, may I show you this? To accept this item, issue a receipt and examine it thoroughly and make a formal statement of my findings would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time. Sorry? Does that item want 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. It's relevant to the conversation. Let's leave it for now. Well, now you've wasted my time and made me look stupid for not clicking on the button first before you had to say, "Ooh, I need to see evidence that you're a lawyer." The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you'd consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the study tour go ahead, but without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asoki. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo! I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? If there was someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's me. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications and such. No qualifications, you say, and yet still you claim to be a lawyer? Look, I've defended myself from life or death trials twice successfully. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had someone to help me, and I was the accused, but glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain study. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe, not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's for too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Because Mr. Asoki's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I had to carry on and do everything he planned to. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruto. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand to you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thank you? So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? If you say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do, are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Just his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden. Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specialist certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruto, do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an act trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as of yet, so this would be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Well, I could ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You can't really lose. That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably you read that much in your short sea-based introduction to British law? We can't possibly agree to such a test. We'll be toying with a man's life. I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruto, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say that you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? If I say no, then we probably just lose, right? Alright then, if I had to give you a decision now, my answer is... I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire a ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Hey, I said yes. You saw that. I clicked yes. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mr. Zazo, but what could I do? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether or to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Mrs. Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable. I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. Wait, if you're you're literally, like, in charge of the lawyers in Britain, as far as if my understanding of the hierarchy knows. Is, you know, as far as I can tell from what I can glean from the hierarchy, shouldn't you be down there preparing to defend him then, if no one else will? That's awful. That is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? I mean, I said I would defend him, so please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. I'm really his only hope? So, what do you say now, madam? Okay, so what was even the point of giving me the option to say yes or no and then making me choose no previously then? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. February, 9:45 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver. There's a kid in it for you. That's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite well, perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand. The court clerks and the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room is for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? Not really. We know literally nothing about the case other than it's a murder trial. We have no evidence. We have no knowledge of who our client is or who we're representing. You know, there's a lot going on. A lot of missing information, a lot of details I could use regarding this case. I'm feeling tense, that's all. This whiskey gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. And a precedent here, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. Just like only yesterday, though, I was the one about to be crushed. I mean, it was literally only like a month and a half ago, right? Well, almost 2 months. He said 50 days. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend us, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate. Sorry? Oh, look at those expressionless faces. On the East, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. Been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name. All while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Tis grand! We'll start by giving you those 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Susato, you don't have to shout. 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? Tis nothing to me at all. I'd like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather our rainy days. I'm enough to about the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I may want you to do something for me. No? To be honest, just a little embarrassing. The trials that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be on the in the dock. So what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. It was true. But the Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Buster Pegasus, do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry, we've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just at the Hyde Park there in the city of London is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? Just called McGinnity Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London? A city of smiles. That's my vision for London. There's such a Magnus Gilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now there's a call to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus Gilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask you? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Pass out, make good time to introduce ourselves and the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Mr. Gilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I saying after... What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I give you 1,000 guineas to stand up their nets to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up their nets to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes could he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it! That's the only explanation. Well... well... Not at all. The English are very racist, and this guy's very clearly Irish or Scottish. I don't know. That is really strange, to be honest. Well, you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry, did you just say Reaper? No, Jack the Ripper. Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baruch von Zeeks, is the prosecutor. Never mind, different person entirely. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call for the accused. They call the accused his sacrificial lambs. These are the scales of justice, the symbol of the defense, right? Yes, that's right. Scales of fairness. It shows that all should equal in the eye of the law, according to those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind. But the mark of the defense would be more auspicious if they were weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think. Very impartial, I'm sure. Then... Oh, Katsu... Oh. Oh, yeah, we legitimately just stole this. Lawyer's name is embroidered on the inside here. Look. Kasuma Asogi. This was his band, of course. He had his heart set on the study tour in Great Britain. I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here. He lost his life before he even had the chance to see the plays. I have such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at his this armband, though. Until this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? Such reached the desperate situation. But there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, what Baruch von Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Let's make our way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel. That would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fellow, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here. I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance, a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now. Please, we can change his fate. Maybe. Probably not. I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Guess I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. No to be continued yet, so the episode continues. February 18th, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, there's a bunch of judges here. So this is the highest court in Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. Interesting. I believe we're placed on opposite sides in this one as opposed to previous, well, cases. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. What? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt of innocence or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilden. And now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. Yes, the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes please me. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. A cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilden. Yes, my lord? You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You'll be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow's a student from some little island up in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that such chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilden. What a fine gentleman London, isn't it? Did you hear he donated 5,000 pounds to the Golden Filthy? Will they please me, William McGildenberg? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilden. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised you couldn't convince anyone to. I'm surprised you couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilden, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always said we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing that he never set eyes on me. I feel a chill. Don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with me own knitting. It must finish. At least it's for my grandson. Oh, Mr. Naruhoto, these people are the jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinion of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from two completely different points of view. How exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor Van Zieks. My lord, it's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the court. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I've never met the advice from the judge. I am known as the from the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. This liquor has been out of action for 5 years, which means it's rusty. Why did you have to use today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. There must be no ones in here aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as thrice-fired mason. Sorry, thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. The victim's corpse was discovered in a bus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Also, I'm pretty sure my audio broke, so give me a second here. Okay, maybe it didn't. I'm just hearing things. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood council? Probably the blood from the victim. There's no blood on the handle. There's no way blood could have gotten on the gloves if there's no blood on the handle. Thrice fired mason, age 54, brickmaker. 15th February, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus and died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Oh. Audio did break this time. Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. Give me a moment to fix this stupid audio. Please stop being stupid, computer. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. Defendant's leather gloves, leather gloves. Defendant was wearing at the time of the incident with blood stain on the right glove. I'm not getting into this. I'm backed into the corner before I'm even started. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Nothing was pleasant said to be confronted with on my first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No, by the way, is Mr. McGilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier today. Pity, if only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Whoops. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Defendant, what do you say? What say you? Well, of course I had no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded! To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. Whenever I'm in my carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? Just the motion of the carriage, my lord. Lilting, so it is. When I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask you, a good-hearted soul and rush and help of bleeding from his stomach. I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto his gloves then after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses. How is that possible? There were only 2 in... But there were only 2 of them. Okay, well, we can for sure see no blood on the handle, therefore, how did blood get on the gloves? The precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Again! not possible if there were only 2 people in the cab. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. There were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Why is he shivering so much? Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present were in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir. Oh, that's right. I'm gonna change his voice because I don't remember what I used for the old man at first. Very well, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. Okay, I'm going back. Okay, this. I'm going back to this voice. Soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These witmen witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? This has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those 2 witnesses have possibly seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. How quaint. I heard that civilization of the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. I only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? Actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes? The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff, bring forth the stricken omnibus. Go grab the chains and drag it. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. Can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Passenger seat inside the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the roof top deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there's a skylight in the roof allowing for a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. And that is how they came to witness the grim act. Through the skylight. Ugh, that makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. And that is the prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Omnibus is entered into the courtroom record. Can I actually examine? I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Okay. That's good for us, though. We can take a moment and look at it. Why is my... Oh, because it's inverted. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from here. Some people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with cold air rushing past them. Must they pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Wow. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? The scene of a murder. It's horrible. Blood. It's blood soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Or the victims, obviously. That's blood soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be really visible from the roof deck. Should we really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the deck. There doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. It says it can't be opened from the inside, the cabin, at least. Ah, that's a poster for the Great Exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn toward the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard to sit on it. It's just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the rear ditch, and so she would have to be seated in here. The one in the kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Can I examine this other seat? Same dialogue. Ah, that's a poster. Okay, it's the same. It's not the same. Wait, what? Why is that? I thought this was what? Why does that have the same? Why is that the same dialogue as the other? Oh? The seat has a handle, it seems. This is like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Beating tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. No such handles on this other side. We've seen enough, let's sit back outside then. Okay, so that's the same as before. Can I examine the skylight from the outside? There is a latch on the outside. You can sort of see inside the carriage that's opening. That's weird. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure witnesses would be able to see quite clearly. It's not good for us. What about the latch? Okay, well. I guess we don't care about the latch. Place. You don't see these marks? I guess those are just marks from where the carriage driver sits. back out of this. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene enters it as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that ominous but thorough examination, seeing as it's here. I'll just continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. I don't expect this nippity straight to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryanosuke. Focus. Cross-examination, what the witnesses saw. Last was of the evening's few customers, I remember it well. I don't think we really need to press right here. The man accused of killing who were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Hold it!
Press here. And you saw them through the skylight on the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit on top of the deck, or up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. That's right. When you sit on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There's a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't make out their exact face. Exactly make out their faces. There's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilden is a gentleman of rather small stature. I could have mistaken for anyone else. Let's not forget the wind of you who came to a halt, the only people inside. In the enclosed cabin. With the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or you fair dinkum hard-working city banker is not considered trustworthy these days. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is not good. I really gotta just back up. Perhaps you could tell us in more detail. My lord! Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. What the? There's no point in wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. As foreman for the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What? Did we just lose because I pressed in the What the? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that's how members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice we saw a moment ago. So those enormous scales fall completely to the black side. Does that mean... do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. So is that like the punishment for pressing the wrong point? You screamed because you stabbed him, you say. Were you sitting up on the roof deck? Yes, that's right. I was sitting on the roof seats. I remember seeing a little gent next to the fellow that was stabbed. I had been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly looking around. But then, I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right up from his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Aha, that didn't help me at all. The trails are even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone more dubious that Mr. Gilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Good grief, yes, that's it, the very one, sir. Is that it? Yes, Counsel, this is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. And that blade is of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Are you sure it's not a W? Please, no. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or Gilded, possibly? Take your pick. W for Wombo. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder most certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. Quality and physical distance just must be quite valuable. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Drawer number 2, go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's words should be sacrosanct. Hang on, can I look? Let me look at this knife first. Ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. McGilded. Its initial. It's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I think. What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, turnabout cases, I'm sure. I'm afraid I don't know at all, but what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well, that idea was quickly quashed. What? That part is the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, sorry, yes. I just don't really like blades. You're carrying a sword! Oh. Those don't seem like exactly! Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Blood. That looks like a lot of blood. It Surely his blood, the victim's... An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. Finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Engraving? I think about the pommel or the handle. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish? No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Hold it! I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in position to draw the only logical conclusion. I haven't even been given a chance to object to anything. We're already 4 of 6 down. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. So there's such to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more parts may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back, but... Alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, that would be the passenger, sir. Collapsed on the floor he was. By the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing him in the other passenger in the belly. What? Single stab one to the abdomen. Order! Order! It's hard to believe one of London's greatest philanthropists. It is hard to believe of one of London's greatest philanthropists. Sorry, English is hard, but this is damning indeed. The law knows no philanthropists, my lord, only the innocent and the guilty. Good deeds mean nothing when overshadowed by evil. The truth is everything. I couldn't agree more, sir. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witnesses' statements again a little more carefully this time. Okay, I guess I have to press this one as well, even though I didn't think there would be anything relevant of it. In the past, we've actually been so in previous games, they introduce, around this time, a penalty for pressing statements that aren't relevant to the case. And I feel like this wouldn't be relevant. This wouldn't get any relevant information. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold it was. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Not at all traveling in the same parts of the bus. Though, no. There were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that, no. So now we've at the scene of the crime, then. Yeah, I have to say, the boss is running. He does every day. That last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. I'm trying to look and see if I can get an interrupt, basically. The interrupt thing we saw beforehand. What do you mean by that? Well, with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. I just can't believe it, sir. Can't believe it. A murder on my own bus. It's too awful to think about. I haven't been able to shake this cold ever since it happened. My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5, do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse is bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little longer. Gee up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild. I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then, pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. Gilded Park, it's called. Gentleman donated to the city, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Thank you, old lady. Character apparently counts here. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Well then, maybe we could have killed a public library, and later and borrow some more books. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? Philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. Where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one of the very darkest of souls. What? Stole the crows! Gilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard of any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So, has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? I really hope I'm not about to get a fucking game over before I've even had a chance to defend. You're not saying that the victim of War Brickmaker had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed, the final repayment date was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house, and he had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, his pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist and pretender Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it.
Hold it!
I thought I heard something. I guess not. If I might add something briefly, Mr. Sato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. Where's the evidence to support your claim? Forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in the court of law. Aha, there it is. Lord Van Zeke's hallowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? You have a sword on your waist. Shut up. But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I guess he also has a sword on his waist, so... What am I hearing? Give me a moment. Okay, sorry about that. I thought the cat was meowing at my door to be let outside or something like that. Even though I know you're technically you're not really supposed to let cats outside. It's just kind of something I've done since she was young, before I knew better. Anyway, back to the back to Vampire Edgelord, or Edgeworth rather. But I find myself, well, kind of both. But I find myself in the. Oh, I guess that's in the game that I'm hearing. You hear that, right? That like ew sound. It sounds just like my cat, so well, the cat. But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I've heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! Yes, as judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a display of courage! What your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. Find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. Pray forgive the discourtesy of raising a chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Debtor's ledger entered into the court record. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. Hold on. Wait. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Here, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Naturally, I wonder. I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. Well, let's see what we find. We have to open it and look. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Fairplay. That's the guy. That's one of the witnesses. Does that mean something to me? It does. Strangely familiar. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? He borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. Among the defendant's list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently. Any other information? Doesn't look like it. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem like I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. It's such a pretty little part, too. What a scoundrel! Still, maybe it's all for the best. Ah, wait a moment! Think about this a little more before. I don't stand for nonsense. That was it. The last juror's decision. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh! There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Objection! Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. It's... Mr. Sato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law, however, the defense... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, the court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. A summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination. From which century has the tome you have there been resurrected? Ah! Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh! What even is it, Mr. Sato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment. I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure we will be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really. So it rather fell out of use. I wonder why? Because it was devoid of any purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally reversed. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Summation examination, our last possible option. We assert our right to carry it or admit defeat. We have to assert our right, otherwise the game's over. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord. London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain barren.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could be vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with summation examination. This is madness. This is Sparta! Foreman, are you and the remainder of your jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not. There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so. All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believed the defendant to be guilty. Oh, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention that this was made before. I don't really hold all this justifying law. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyers attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant Magnus guilty of this most serious crime. I feel like something like this should be in modern as well. Judicial findings. Why do you have the same... Why do you have the knife from the murder? There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have sympathetic and collated all statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Oh, let's see what we can do. And get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them. And use some pretty persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruto. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. No? I thought this was going to have... I thought I was going to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their own conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruto. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, since members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public, they may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they're complete strangers who happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way they break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly! We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, then we should contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against one another. Yeah, I already saw one where the math didn't add up. He said 4 passengers, 20 pence, but he said that they hadn't raised prices above 4 pence. I see, so it's contradictory to what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another and to break them down. Alright, I may be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. Four passengers with fares totaling 20 minutes. Trust the guild. Fares is our fares is mother. Haven't raised prices above 4 pence.
Hold it!
That's how much it costs to take the omnibus? That's right. As the guild master, I decided to set a policy for all drivers across the city. One fare, no matter which bus you take or how far you're going. Not to compete with the rise of the motor car, you see. Us coachmen have to make a stand together. Motor cars, you say? Yes, and this murder on one of our buses is extremely damaging to our cause. It's beyond the pale. It'll lead to a decline in passengers, mark my words, and it's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay. It's the crime of the buses he's more worried about. Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, that fellow in the dock is as guilty as sin. Four passengers, totaling 20 pence. That's 5 per boat.
Hold it!
But does his ability to recall taking things that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is? I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts. I see. A single penny can make the difference between life and death, after all, can't it? That's a saying in your country. My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in the service would swear to that, sir. Does the bench really need any more polishing? So if the good driver said that he saw Mr. McGilded in the act, I can't doubt him. I don't doubt him. Was that don't or can't? I don't. Okay. The only task left to do today is to sow those into the rubbish. Now wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. Now would be a very good time to listen carefully to the jurors' statements again. If you notice any inconsistency with what two different jurors are saying, I should dispose it by putting them against each other. Yes, let's see if I can do just that. So if I pick you against you? Is it R?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swore on Silverblaze's maiden name. I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. And those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is a very convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. That doesn't add up at all. In fact, there's a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. By 4 pence, or precisely one person's fare. One person's fare? Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's a distinct possibly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious! This can't be right! The coachman of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Just why this is our watchword. The figures your coachman claim. These most certainly do not add up. Our watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon? Mrs. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that at this hour we're in now, this will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make this so this miserable trial doesn't end, Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the scales. No, you hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you have to go? Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo! This is all very irritating. I'm gonna give this guy the scores. Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same. Not you as well. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Noel, though. You did it! If we can manage to change into 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's been bothering me about a couple of their assertions. That's where you must strike next. We need to put 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly! You can do it! Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. My leaning to innocent. I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself. Rebecca of the trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of this correct or not guilty. Stabbing him on the floor. I mean, I can just do objection here. But yeah.
Hold it!
Careful, you can hurt someone with that. You're a fine one to fall. What was that sword hanging from your waist? No, that's just my battered soul. Anyway, yeah, I despise anyone with too much money. They're all the same, all stabbing some brickmakers. Or they're behind the scenes. Not my words. That seems very unlikely, doesn't it? Are you mad, man? You know that small shorty is a rotten Shylock. Well, yes, it does seem to be the case, but... Sir, please be careful what you say. If he's been trying to squeeze money out of us less fortunate, then as far as I'm concerned, he's as guilty as sin. The man can hang. Come to think of it, don't the other jurors have something to say about the defendant's underhanded activities? Was it this guy? No, yeah, it was the old lady who was like, he stabbed him like this on the floor, even though we clearly see him the victim seated in matter. Can I simply object here? Objection. The stabbing was while the guy was seated. Alright.
Hold it!
I really think you should stop waving that needle around. You heard what the good gentleman said before, didn't you? This man stabbed the poor fellow just like this. Yes, that's what he said. You're right. It's such a lovely little place too. I always enjoy resting my legs there while I get on with my knitting. I had thought that anyone who donated such a beautiful place must be a fine fellow indeed. Suppose I was wrong. I would have thought he was a miserable muttering money without a scrap of remorse. That'll help. She's as sure that or can be that he's guilty now. The lady certainly seems to know her mind, doesn't she? Just need to find 2 jurors. Okay, it's gonna make me go through the loop because. See, because she was the 6th. Let's deliver doing research and you can find yourself in this situation. Oh! Sure, go ahead. It's a little long. Very well, listen to this. Information, you will hear answers from jury members. In the situation, use pit with impunity. Oh, so you don't have to worry about being wrong? That's how you'll be able to compare with other jurors. Select them to do. You cannot use the assertion of a juror you initially selected, nor can you choose the assertion of jurors who have changed their opinion to not guilty already. To compare the various jurors' assertions, work out which two contradict each other, and pit them against each other. Okay, so the same thing we've already done. By just being like, oh, is this the button that I press? So that's right now, so I never have to listen to that long explanation again. Alright, so I'm going to pit you against you.
Objection!
Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel, post haste. Oh, dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? It means that they're oppose each other. Well, we've heard from more than one witness, that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see that I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha! Want to test me, do you? Like this, set the fellow lit without even getting up, just as the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairpley's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, it was, as far as I understand, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor, and the coachman said so. Now, don't move. Take a look at these two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I have never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle! What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh! But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet. I mean, I do. What I do know is that the trial ends at this point. We may never find out. We may never find out the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot continue to listen to this now. Other than his black his clever some sort of his ancient over using magic on us all. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? For me, this dark truth. Hey! Hey, that's dark gesture to you. Huh? Me? What is that awful problem? What if two witnesses have slightly different recollection of events? What of it? Let's say, the Charlotte did stab the victim as he was sitting next to him on the audience. This young dandy saw him do it. Now let's say the victim collapsed to the floor and then Charlotte stabbed him again. This old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, no? Well, if you would had, you know, the memory of more than a goldfish, you would know that the cause of death was the result of a single stab wound. Who are you calling the dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you. Who are you calling old? I should take this needle to you. They're ready to kill each other now. Could a foreman of the jury be right? No. Two witnesses who did different movements of the same crime? Moments of the same crime? Out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it? Your Dark Jinx? I told you before, it's Dark Jester. Come on, no woman. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about now? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. I'm only doing my job. So where's your evidence, man? This is what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you said it's out of the question, show me some proof. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime as proven by the autopsy report. I pressed the wrong button.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruto. We've won! What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Cha-cha-trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said cha-cha-trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Why is he licking the knife, aka Vamp from Metal Gear Solid 2? Pardon me, I was dying. In a perfectly legal manner, of course. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places, and I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. I feel like it'd be okay to take a recess at this point. So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Savored the rich aroma of the calming contents of this hallowed chalice. It may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks? Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tone no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence, and I listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard as to prove the suffering truth, it would seem. No, why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses, I trust you've heard the summation examination we've just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir, my lord, sir. It transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus. You will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh, no deal. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. I only had 4 passengers that night, I swear. But, well, I for one, so I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Was on the ferry, did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes, he stabbed him, he did. And, yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage. Beppo, explain yourself! I'm terribly sorry, Guild Master. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You've been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace! And your selfless actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild! If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. Well, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of protracted examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. Passengers. Let's press.
Hold it!
So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right?
Excuse me!
Mr. First. Oh, how can I help you, sir? That last statement. Did it trouble you in some way? Oh, not particularly, sir, no. Anything. It's troubling me with that hat of his. Has he raised his... Okay, he was doing like a laugh. dear me, sir. That's not troubling you, sir. I'm still just an apprentice, you see. It's not Lada. Even the witnesses can see what's going through your mind. You really must be more careful. I wish it were that simple. Okay. Okay, see, he had a completely different stance, so...
Hold it!
So they're rolling 4 passengers, is that right? It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. It was so cold, all I could do was tell myself passing out. I'm getting chill points just listening to you. It's terrible. So I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for keeping the evening bus running. Yeah, he had a complete, like, doesn't dedicated coachman to deserve an extra penny per passenger. You're taking a deeper hole for yourself here. If there had been a fifth passenger on that omnibus that night, then we would have another suspect.
Hold it!
Doesn't that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. I just told you that I did. I've had fare of 5 pence across the board. It's not something to be proud of. This so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead and buried. I'd have been happy if it had never existed in the first place. Fiddled us on the fare.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir.
Excuse me!
Well, Mr. Beppo? Oh, me, sir? Just something to add in relation to that last statement? Well, sir, there is just one thing, sir. I was wondering what's going to become of my omnibus, sir, after this trial. What do you mean? I can't help but wondering. No one to write a cursed carriage someone was killed in. Well, everyone read it. Yes, the cursed carriage could be an attraction, maybe. It could be a single showroom for me. Oh, yes, I think it will be. Well, if you could just focus on the testimony for the time being, please. Okay, well, hold on.
Hold it!
And you're referring to the murder, right? Loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror of the eyes of a man in the moment his life is taken. Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't exactly see the moment when the gent was stabbed. Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did help. The banker has already testified to it. Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker did this, so he took a short intake of breath. You see, that's when I looked at the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. Also, the audio can't help but break, apparently. Oh my gosh, please, audio. Everything you said before stands.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGill, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. He wasn't the two of them inside the carriage there, wasn't it? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as of yet, zero evidence. No one wasted all this time for it. It's black and white. The man's guilty. Still, Mr. Fairway's testimony just jars me. I should have forgot what it was. Okay, I don't know if I have it. It's not relevant at the moment.
Hold it!
I want to ask this other guy. Because he's not doing his... Because he's staring like doe-eyed.
Excuse me!
Mr. First. Oh! How can I help you, sir? That last statement did trouble you? Oh, not particularly, no. Anything. Okay, well, I guess...
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant as holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, you know, yes, put the cart before the horse. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats of the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, the knife sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all?
Excuse me!
If I may, Mr. Fairplay? What are you fussing for now? Well, that statement appears to have given you pause for thought. Not really. By the way, you all seem to be looking to the side, one way or another. Do you have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, it seems. It's none of your business anyhow. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow we managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. Okay, well, I want to continue pressing through this portion. Victim on the floor, ice pick grip, I suppose. Because I might have lied. What's this? Blah blah blah. That was him. Victim was on the floor, nightstick looking up out of his midriff. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? We'll go through the press first. I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head... No, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing.
Truth! Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Are you listening to me? I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking.
I know what you're thinking.
He didn't actually... wait, he didn't realize that the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that, eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? I'm just getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from if I answer clever. Did you just happen to see the exact moment the crime was committed? No chance, right? Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight at the top of an omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me, I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about exactly what you saw.
Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. I think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after watching that... after that butcher stabbed the man.
Hold it!
Blood-soaked?
Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
And you saw that from the roof, through the skylight?
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure what I saw.
This banker's like a statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. You feel something doesn't add up, and present evidence. This one should have a... Well, I had to press the... I had to press there to make sure we didn't need to add that particular portion of testimony, because we've already seen that introduced. Where we had to ask someone to add something to their testimony. Present the gloves.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I admit the soak might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in blood in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant Mr. McGill did on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark colored stain there. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove.
Arrgh.
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
Yeah! But, no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar here then.
Arrgh.
That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said hurrah, it was both hands.
Arrgh.
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie. See, I didn't expect it to be such a big, obvious, like, hey, I have something to say. I thought it would be like a little subtle thing. Like, oh, they're not using the idle animation that has been consistently going on. If your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't on both hands. It was on one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Also, the witness, the accused, has admitted to attempting to administer aid to the victim. This is a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Why am a city banker for me to say my word should be the gold standard? I'm a gentleman, not some government snipe. Standing members of society don't prevaricate.
He's going to have no reason to lie. Thank you for defining the word prevaricate for me. Was that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, we do. It could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence! My lord. Yes, counsel? The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witch's alleged deception of the court. The debtor's ledger. Among the defendant's list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently.
Take that!
This is a list of debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilden. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely what they have been called a debt.
From this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say?
Oh, well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilder were to be found guilty of murder. What will become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to capital punishment. All outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Sorry, my mouse was invisible, and that's bad when I'm playing on. That's bad when I have to worry about accidentally tabbing out of the game by clicking something. Mr. Fairplay, not only is the case you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant.
Order!
Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, my lord.
Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
Alright, let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on Mr. McGilden's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. Sorry, I bumped my mic.
So you keep saying.
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens. Seeing what? The
blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost certain that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What?
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here.
I was put on both hands of this. I just sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say I didn't see the exact moment that the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Wait a minute.
Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Well, lo and behold. The truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetuated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Not much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press everything here.
The evidence tells us otherwise. But the clothes the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm well aware of that, but nevertheless, these two are fine. I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both of his hands.
It's defiant even in the face of hard evidence. Steadfastly refusing to believe he might be mistaken about what he saw. Why? Your reasoning is dying. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Relative to the grim crime, the victim's blood drooped guiltily from the accused's fingers.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance as well you know. But, for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could have possibly done it. It was just trying to save us all the time. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Huh. Do you hope to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was guilty? I will, that's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I bet the wrong horse at the derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, that's a sure thing.
A little guinea or 10.
I'm a banker. No one bets that I have borrowed a little spending money for the weekend. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than a new bargain for, sir. This
Mrs. Scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? I remember seeing both of these blood on them. You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilden's clothes has any signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, I looked down at Mr. McGilden sitting beside the other fellow. I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark colored stain on the leather gloves would have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused of the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on McGilden's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. There wasn't blood on his... Hold it! Here. You didn't see anything? Oh yeah, sorry, that is... No, I didn't. I'm very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Would you agree, sir? Oh, I know you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. So, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed the good view of London streets, no? Oh, great. Our character's an idiot. As we've well established by this point, with 3 chapters into the game. Oh, please, you didn't even see that? It was so cool that night, you see, it was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. I'm sorry to say. Sorry. It seemed prudent to avoid travel in the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Purple!
Hold it!
And everything you saw the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus? It's seriously cold. The glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember. I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which begs the question, why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place? Oh, I don't know about this yet, but I could. And enter the cabin. Huh? Oh? Why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right. And it's a public bus, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off.
choice but to climb on the roof deck and knowingly and look down longingly into the one cabin below. I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. They really have seen everything inside the skylight? Hang on. Time to cheat! So, if we position ourselves like right here. Yeah, if we're right on top of this bench, if we're right on top of this bench, we cannot... As a matter of fact, if we go, like, over here, even further up, we still can't see. So they might not have been able to, I guess. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor on the upper deck, is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibilities can't not be denied. The fact is that there could have been another passenger enclosed in the cabin of the omnibus. Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the secret of the crime is here in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify, the area on this crisscross section of the panel of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting the potential extra passenger could have been situated? Oh yeah, this is actually even easier.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats enclosed in the cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Ah! That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Grrr!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Your Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. It is unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to
Can you, Mr. Naruto? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, just out of sight from both witnesses on the roof deck? Alright. Honestly, I have my suspicion is that it's the driver, because the driver has the exact same type of gloves as the defendant, and they're both small men. I guess I'll say I have an inkling. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to the hard lessons not yet learned. Yeah, I might just game over here. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be a chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night of the murder, the person occupying the scene of the omnibus cabin what was obscured from view was Beppo.
Take that!
Yes, concealed in the blind spot of the cabin that night was none other than this unexpected passenger. Whatever so-called logic used to arrive at the conclusion does not. Those answers make one thing abundantly clear. Okay, we're wrong. That's what it says right. We unusually polished. So that's not right. Mr. Naruto, our task here is to defend Mr. McGill. If we are working on the assumption that he is innocent of this crime. Yes, of course. Why? That must mean then that there was someone else inside the omnibus with Mr. McGill, the true culprit. That's right. So it would have been. Oh! Of course! So two people are sitting inside the cabin that the witnesses saw through the skylight. They were the victim and the real culprit. It does seem as though we've all been making a false assumption. This is not looking at Mr. McGilded at all. I mean, he has to have been sitting somewhere else. Still named the other passenger in the seat. Can I back out of this? I'm assuming... Was the victim then? Is that what we're saying?
Take that!
No. I really don't know what, no. Like I said, I very much might game over here because this could have been a trap. Where we're supposed to say, yeah, I genuinely had no idea. Wait. The night of the murder. The person. Oh, I'm misreading things. Okay. So the person occupying the hidden seat was McGilded. Okay. That's okay. That's entirely on me. On me not having good reading comprehension skills. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness was on the roof deck failed to see. Has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Was Mr. McGilded dead? What are you talking about? That's the name of the defendant. Yeah, we're saying he was sitting where he couldn't be seen. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Why do you keep getting those? Lord Van Zeeks. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see the use terms ill-advised. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is based. But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the golden remains. But the point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of the events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary. Order! What does that do? Leo, are you possible?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused. But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops on their heads are both obscured by the roof. I can see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen support, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. Would you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGill, would undoubtedly offer to depose the fact. Unless that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to notice even the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah! He's right. But there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused Mr. McGilded to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a false statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not?
we need something to work with here. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Ah, yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
Something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
You got the patron of my favorite little podcast to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be heard.
Very managerial, that one. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. I mean, he could just walk up, right? Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, you've been listening to the discourse of the day. To be sure I have, my lord. Now, there are two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no, it is not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Don't tell you so, I'll keep my mouth shut. Tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true? Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. You're his accomplice? What? No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure nobody wanted to know I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. But you'll be having a very good reason, I assure you. It was... He was one of your debtors, wasn't he? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they would have soon cheated on it. They'd have hauled her into this courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. So you're a simp and prepared to die for it. But who is this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. Never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man.
The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be so surprised. The urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak. Listen to the proceedings. A glance. What? Ah, smoke! Ah, fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! After them, it's no use! I can't see anything. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. No, cover your face! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call for an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. we were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos, these people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being, at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. It's been 3 hours. I don't know if I have another 3 hours in me. Screw it. Be back in a moment, YouTube.